Welcome to How I AI, the podcast featuring real people, real stories, and real AI in action. I'm Brooke Raymer, your host and guide on this journey into the real-world impact of artificial intelligence. For over 15 years, I've worked in creative marketing, events, and business strategy, wearing all the hats. I know the struggle of trying to scale and manage all things without burning out. But here's the game changer, AI. This isn't just a podcast. How I AI is a community, a space where curious minds like you come together, share ideas, and I'll also bring you exclusive discounts and insider resources because AI isn't just a trend, it's a shift. And the sooner we embrace it, the more freedom, creativity, and opportunities will unlock. Today's episode is a special one. And it's basically a field report from Miami in the middle of Art Basel week at the Tech Basel Miami AI Summit. If you've never been in Miami during Art Basel week, just imagine creative chaos, glossy everything, people flying in from everywhere. And then you drop a full-blown AI summit into the middle of it. This is exactly what happened this past December, and it was electric. This summit was in partnership with Emerge Americas, and I had the chance to do what I love most. Be on the ground, listen to the smartest people in the room, pull out the golden nuggets, and then sit down with some of the speakers one-to-one. You're going to hear two massive themes colliding during this episode. One is the open source conversation, which is a really powerful one. Who gets to build? Who gets access? Who controls policy? The other is the macro future view, where AI isn't one trend, it's the layer that touches everything from productivity to energy to markets. So here's how today's episode is going to flow. First, I'm going to give you my personal highlights from the opening and closing keynote talks. The opening talk featured Clem from Hugging Face. The closing talk featured Cathie Wood from ARK Invest. Then you're going to hear my sit-down interviews from the summit. I sat down with Sherelle Dorsey, host of TED Tech, and also Boris Jelinek, co-founder and CEO of 4A Labs. I also want to quickly share the important plug that Emerge Americas is coming to Miami April 22nd to 24th of this 2026. And if you're building in tech, AI, startups, or just trying to stay close to the future, it's one tech expo you want to keep on your radar. All right, let's dive in. I've been to a lot of conferences. Some are fluff, some are pure pitch fest energy, and then there's ones where you can really feel the signal. This one had signal. The Miami AI Summit felt highly curated, like the organizers were intentionally trying to create collision points between founders, investors, builders, and people who actually ship things, not just talk about them. And that matters because AI is now one of those topics where you can hear the same recycled takes 1,000 times and still walk away with nothing useful. I went into this summit wanting something simple, to understand where are we actually going, and how do normal humans and small teams position themselves without getting steamrolled. So let's talk about the opening keynote. It was highlighting that the future is open source. The keynote featured Leon Cooperman, CTO of Cast AI, Clem, the founder of Hugging Face, and Sherelle Dorsey, moderated from TED Tech. Clem came in with a message that I only think is getting more true by the moment. The future of AI is open. The future of innovation is open. The future of leverage is open. And I want to slow that down because open source has become one of those phrases that people throw around like, oh yeah, open source, community, democratization, and then they move on. But this keynote was pointing to a powerful shift, and here are some of the ideas that really stuck with me the most. One is that open source is not ideology, it's infrastructure. Open source is how ecosystems scale. It's how you get millions of people improving something parallel. It's how you get velocity without needing one company to be the single brain and bottleneck for progress. The second key point was the people building the future are not waiting for permission. This is one of the undercurrents I felt in the whole room. There's this quiet confidence in builders who are like, cool, we're just gonna go test, fine-tune, remix, and ship. Open communities create that energy because the default is participation, not gatekeeping. The third key point was open source changes who gets to compete. This is the part I think conscious entrepreneurs and small teams need to understand deeply. When AI capability is locked behind a few companies, Your ability to innovate is basically rented. Your pricing, your access, your features, your limitations, they're all determined by someone else's business decisions. When AI capability is increasingly open, your ability to innovate becomes more owned. For instance, if you're using ChatGPT or doing AI with APIs, you don't really control it. It's not really yours. They also made the key point that these few companies will ultimately control the policies. This is why open ecosystems matter. If only a handful of companies own the models, they influence access, safety rules, and what allowed even means. This conversation was essentially pointing to a world where smaller teams can build powerful things. They mentioned the future is built by communities, not castles. And the secret sauce becomes less about hoarding access and more about execution, product design, distribution, and trust. So if you're building anything with AI, pay attention to the open ecosystems. That's where speed, talent, and experimentation concentrate. And for the non-technical listeners, I want to make this practical. Here's what the future is open source can mean for you without needing to code. We're going to be seeing more affordable tools, more niche tools built for specific industries. You will see AI move closer to personal devices, smaller models, more privacy-aware workflows. Clem gave the really funny example on how he didn't want his robot in his home to be connected to anything not local, making sure that anything with the camera running around in his house was going to be local. I thought that was like a really interesting point and cool to hear that he already adapted into having robotics within his home. So the final thought being open source isn't a trend. It's the backbone that determines who gets to build, who gets to compete, and who gets locked out. Which leads me to the next conversation I want to share, which was the closing keynote of the AI Summit, which was basically the macro level, big picture version of here's where all of this is going. This closing talk highlighted Cathie Wood and the exponential future we're headed towards. Cathie Wood is the founder and CEO and CIO at ARK Invest. And whatever you think about investing, markets, or predictions, you cannot deny that she is a clear thematic thinker. She's looking at the world like a chessboard of converging technologies, AI, robotics, autonomous systems, energy innovation, blockchain, all of it. And she's trying to name what happens when multiple exponential curves stack upon each other. And one of the biggest themes she shared was the rise of autonomous vehicles and autonomous systems overall, and how quickly that adoption curve can move once it hits the right inflection point. Here's why this matters, even if you don't care about automatic cars driving you around. Automatic vehicles are a symbol of something bigger. The fact that machines are perceiving the world, they're making decisions in real time, they're coordinating at scale, they're operating in messy physical environments. We just got Waymo here in Miami, and I think it's incredible that they're able to drive on the streets of Miami. So when Cathie talks about autonomous vehicles, she's not just talking about transportation, she's talking about the shift from AI as a chat tool to AI as an operational layer in the real world. And that's the moment where society changes fast. As she stated, we are moving from linear change to exponential change. What I personally loved about her closing talk was that she wasn't presenting this as science fiction. It was very matter of fact, like this is what happens when cost curves drop and capability rises. And she touched on the uncomfortable truth that comes with exponential tech. The transition can feel chaotic because when an industry flips, it's not just new winners, it's new job categories, new consumer expectations, new safety concerns, new regulations, new ethical debates, and new cultural norms. So here are my top 3 golden nuggets from this closing keynote featuring Cathie Wood. Number 1 is disruption is not slowing down. If you are waiting for AI to settle or the bubble to burst, you might be waiting in the same way people waited for the internet to settle. Number 2 was the most important skill is adaptation with discernment. Not chasing hype, not rejecting change, learning how to test, integrate, and pivot without losing your identity. And number 3 is autonomy is coming to more than vehicles. It's coming to workflows, operations, customer service, logistics, content pipelines, research, education, healthcare. Different speed, different risk, but same direction. One of my favorite quotes from this talk was, "We're in a productivity-driven boom." This is your 2026 bridge. We're shifting into a world where the real winners are the ones who translate productivity gains into new offers, new companies, and new advantage. So there you have it, my key takeaways. You've got the macro, open source, exponential adoption, autonomous systems, and the real shift from AI as novelty to AI as infrastructure. Which now leads me to the live interviews I recorded at this summit, because they take these big themes and bring them back down to the human scale. First, you're going to hear my sit-down conversation with Sherelle Dorsey, who hosts TED Tech. And I love talking with her because she has this rare combination of being sharp, grounded, and deeply aware of narrative and how story is strategy. Because we're entering an AI era where the novelty of AI is wearing off. People are getting fatigued. Trust matters more than ever. And the key differentiator is going to be who can connect technology to a real human problem and a real why. And in closing, you'll hear my conversation with Bora Jelinek. He's the co-founder and CEO of 4A Labs. And this one is for anyone building in startups or anyone trying to ship anything with a small team. Bora is deep in the reality of execution, and what I appreciated is he brought it back to the fundamentals of validating your idea, getting to market faster, and using whatever tools you need to do so. As we jump into these next two interviews, if you haven't noticed, I love attending conferences and listening in on panels and moderating some of my own here in Miami. If you ever want coverage or need someone to help support your panel curation or moderate a talk, don't hesitate to reach out to me. All right, here's my conversation with Sherelle. Sherelle, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to How AI.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We're here live at Miami AI Tech Summit event at the Mayfair in Coconut Grove. It's a beautiful Florida winter day.
It is a beautiful Florida winter day. I got in from New York City last night, so I am appreciating all this weather. And this has just been such an exciting day to be a part of.
Absolutely. I just got to an incredible talk that you moderated, and I'm excited to host you here and dig more about your work into AI. I read that you had your own media company and then you did a pivot into tech. Tell me all about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say that I have been floating between tech and storytelling and media and journalism for pretty much my entire life and career. I grew up in Seattle, Washington, which was tech central, right? And I learned how to code in high school. I call myself a Microsoft kid. I worked at Microsoft over the summers in high school, which was really cool. And so technology has always been a big significant part of my idea around how we create ecosystems and startup cultures that, really spark innovation. And my media company, The Plug, which got acquired in 2023, hyper-focused on technology and business leaders outside of your traditional Silicon Valley, motley crew of usual folks that we were always kind of talking about. And from the tech side of things, I built out data products that really kind of dive deep into innovation trends happening in diverse communities when it comes to innovation. And so, the idea was leveraging media to really inspire cities and communities that typically aren't part of the conversation of innovation, but inspiring to think about what could I create? How do I build something out of nothing? And what are the key core principles and opportunities that might exist that I can participate in?
Have you always been a strong proponent of amplifying local communities? What really led your passion that way?
Yeah, I think I was really fortunate in that, every summer in high school, I was taking the bus to one of the world's most innovative campuses. I remember being 15 years old. This is back in the day as dial-up internet started to transition, right? And so I'm dating myself a bit, but having this experience of being able to see a smart home features, right? This is early AI days. Microsoft had a smart home that we would get a chance to tour and kind of learn about, you can use your voice activation to ask the shades to come down in the house, right? Or you can put flour on the counter and the counter will tell you recipes for cookies, right?
Cool, yeah.
So this was like circa 2003, 2004. Here are all the possibilities that technology can create. I was super fortunate coming from an inner city, coming from a community that was very expansive, very diverse. And I understood how fortunate I was to have this access. And so I think that for folks like myself, for people who I know are like first generation Americans, and really just coming from these amazing and unique families that, made a decision to seek better opportunities. I'm seeing them like now as executives at some of the big tech companies, right?
Yeah.
And just the fact that they were able to tap in to innovation and tap into technology, it charted a distinctive and a very lucrative path for them. And just imagine if everyone has access to that and can activate an idea or be part of, technical communities where they can build something and maybe that leads them to a great career or leads them to a scholarship for education.
That's beautiful, because when I started my career, I had to move, 2,000 miles to Los Angeles to make it in entertainment. And those that grew up in LA had such an advantage.
Yeah.
They interned very young and went to school with people and had these opportunities. So I love what you're saying about you don't have to move.
Yeah.
This will be in your local community and how important that is.
Yeah, I mean, you can leverage your local resources.
Yeah.
Whether it's classes at community college, right? There's online certification programs. I think there's hubs and communities and even companies that sometimes host gatherings or information sessions. And you can really take advantage and create opportunity for yourself. And I think, as you and I know, like in media as well, like just being able to have a phone, right? A smartphone and a platform, you can create and tell stories that are unique to you and really leverage that within your career to attract opportunities. And you don't always have to, again, leave and move. And many of us have done that, right? I left and went to New York City.
Yeah.
And I think that we just have to be open to the world is so accessible to us now, right? We have all the tools. And I think that was one of the parts of the conversation today on the panel is that, hey, if we can create these open source tools, there's opportunity for everyone to kind of level the playing field.
So take me back to that narrative and storytelling, the true art of what it is you do today as a TED Tech host.
Yeah.
And really amplifying these stories. I see myself so much in your work. It's what I'm trying to do with How I AI is really, it's not how to AI, it's people at the forefront and how they're using AI as an opportunity to expand listeners and see themselves in that person.
Yeah, I love
How
that.
do you translate complex tech into narrative arcs?
Yeah, I try to relate to, I always call it time at the kitchen table, right?
Yes.
The kitchen table is where we have our conversations. We eat together, we break bread together, we have just important dialogue between young and more mature and seasoned elders in our families and within our communities. And, as host of the TED Tech podcast, I get the privilege of watching and reviewing all these incredible talks with these amazing experts and thinkers and engineers and people with all these great degrees that I can't even pronounce some of the work that they do. But I get to tell very intimate and private stories sometimes that just create a sense of relation. I remember there was an episode I did, and it was around using AI for imaging and recollection, and the talk also centered the opportunity of maybe some older folks who are dealing with Alzheimer's, right? But being able to use AI to paint this image of maybe a past memory that they had. Right.
Beautiful.
And I was able to talk about, my grandfather before he passed, him managing dementia, but having these lucid moments that were really reflective of a very long life well lived. And so I try to relate it to how does this apply? There's the technical side, which we're here for at the conference, right? To hear about all the bells, the whistles, the widgets, and all those things. But the practical application, and I want to say Leon Cooperman, who we shared the stage today, made mention of the reality of how these tools create an opportunity for people to create something. And you don't have any money, you don't need to raise millions of dollars, but you can create something with these tools and potentially create wealth or impact your community, right? And I think that being able to simplify the utility of things down to the basic idea that, hey, these tools can fundamentally change our trajectory or help us become more connected, I think is a stronger story versus just computing power or quantum blah, 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 and generative AI model weight, like who knows what that means, right?
Yeah. I love that you brought up kitchen talk. I call it dinner table conversations.
We are one and the same. I love it.
And I was having so many of these fascinating conversations off the record, not recording them. And I said, I need to do this. I need to bring these stories to life. Yeah. And now I've been doing it since the beginning of the year. I've had around 40 conversations. Amazing. I'd love to get into your shoes.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure you've had some amazing conversations that maybe haven't even seen the light of day.
Wow.
Maybe you can think of something or a conversation you've had recently with a leader in the emerging tech space, something that really stuck with you, that had an aha moment. Feel free to take a couple minutes to think about it.
Gosh.
Because I feel like you probably come up and have such great conversations that don't always get to be placed on air.
Yeah, I think I'm really fascinated by the conversations I have with founders who are really building for the first time in a space that's been ignored. So, for instance, there's this amazing founder that I connected with years ago. She just became CEO of a femtech company.
Great.
And being able to use tools like AI to address women's health issues like perimenopause and menopause, which has largely sort of been ignored to an extent by the medical community, but now tools that will provide tailored solutions and health recommendations or insights to help women better manage symptoms of these different life stages that are taking place and taking root. And I think that what fascinates me about it is not the tech itself. And I want to be clear, like I'm fascinated by what technology can do, but I'm much more fascinated by the outcome. And so when I think about how an entire generation is going to be transformed by tools for information and knowledge that previous generations never had access to, how much more that will create a sense of agency and hopefully tremendous health outcomes. And the data from that being fed into new opportunities for more advanced medicine, more education for our healthcare and wellness workers, and just the more that we have these tools to leverage at our disposal, that hopefully we're not just living longer lives, we're increasing the quality of our life. And I just find that to be really fascinating. And I think it's also coming from this idea of empathetic technology. And so that kind of going back to the whole dinner table conversation, because when we start to talk about health, it's a very intimate conversation.
Yes. The first thing that came to mind was, a conversation with someone who was the face of their brand and a real personal problem that they had. I've seen how important it is lately for founders being their brand and shaping the narrative. Something that I read that one of your coined phrases is narrative is strategy.
Yeah.
So maybe you can speak about why that is so important right now to be the face of your brand, really be connected to the passionate why behind what it is that you created with AI and these amazing platforms.
I think there's novelty that robots give us. I think it's fascinating, it's interesting, but I think people still want to be connected to people. We are still souls, in whatever way you determine that, right?
Yes.
And so the robots are fascinating, and that's a great novelty, but it's like, Christmas Day, you get all these gifts, you're excited for about 2 weeks, and then it's over, right? Like the novelty is worn off. And I feel like that's kind of the same with some of these great technologies that we have. But what you remember is how someone made you feel, what someone said, the identity that you may connect with, right? And so storytelling really has been the most ancient technology that we have. Passing on formulas, passing on equations, passing on, rituals and science. All of those are tools of story that help us to live our lives, be much more human. And so when I think about narrative as strategy, I always tell founders, and I do a lot of coaching, especially with founders who are in an impact space. I always tell them, like, people want to know why you got into this work. So tell that story, right? Maybe you became a neurologist because your grandmother suffered with dementia, right? Perhaps you started building technology to unlock human potential because you hit a crisis point in your life where you wanted to deeply maximize your best self, right? People want to know your why. People want to know how you think. People want to get a sense of, not only is this possible for me, but I love to watch the journey of your ascension as well. And I think too, I think so much about the reality of how doom and gloom and dire everything feels. And I don't know, especially like in being in media, it's like we have to be informed as journalists, but it can be really tough. And we want to be able to tell stories that provide hope. And so I try to be very intentional around, am I giving someone a potential seed that will plant in their mind that might spark an idea that they may have that might change the world?
Wow.
Right? And how do I let them know that, yes, things feel really dark, but we can still carry light? And that's what storytelling should do. And even why that even large companies are pushing CEOs to be much more visible.
Yes. Being connected to your why is going to push you through those tough entrepreneurial moments. I love that you said that we want to see the come up.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful because I can just think of case studies I like to speak on and members of my community, and it's just so exciting to see them come up during this time and see their whole life skill set all come together, and now them step into this new way, maybe creating a membership app or somatic therapy coach app, things that people really need now, and they're able to vibe code overnight and get beta testers on their app within a few weeks. It's such
so
exciting
cool.
times.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah. Well, I always like to end my conversations with you to share one key takeaway that you would like for listeners to have. A lot of listeners of the show are pivoting into tech for the first time, or even if you have a key takeaway from conversations you've already had today here at the AI Summit, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I think that we all can learn something about AI. It can seem really intimidating, and I think being in spaces like this where you have engineers and you have computer scientists who have been in this work for a very, like, decades upon decades, it can feel like, how do I have a conversation with this person? And what I like to do is YouTube University, you know, and take like little mini classes on how AI can be used, even in my own field. Right? When I think about being a journalist and, like I can use AI to record my voice and then create like more content or to edit videos or things like that. But I think the biggest thing is like just never stop learning. And it's okay to struggle with things you don't understand because you're learning it for the first time. And, you know, if you're able to take advantage of, again, the resources in your community, conferences like this, I know eMERGE is going to come up. It's like, if you can get a ticket, or even a lot of these conferences will provide scholarships. So just sit in the room. Like I always like say, you know, be the dumbest person in the room and see what you can learn, see who you can connect with. But don't be intimidated, and then share what you learn as well. And there's always a resource that you can tap into, whether it's joining a digital community or finding someplace local for you to connect with other people who are also learning.
Beautiful. So well said. And I'm excited to tap more into the eMERGE community today and listen to the amazing panels we have store for us. So thank you so much for your time, Sherelle.
Thank you so much for having me, Brooke.
Thank you. Have you just started exploring AI and feel a bit overwhelmed? Don't worry, I've got you. Jump on a quick start audit call with me so you can walk away with a clear and personalized plan to move forward with more confidence and ease. Join my community of AI adopters like yourself. Plus, grab my free resources, including the AI Get Started guide, or try my How AI Companion GPT. It pulls insights from my guest interviews along with global reports so you can stay ahead of the curve. Follow the link in the description below to get started. Bora, I'm so happy to have you here. Welcome to How AI. How are you enjoying the Tech Miami AI conference?
It's very, very interesting. We've been with eMERGE since almost, they started in 2015 with the Medina family, one of the earliest supporters. With the addition of Burhan, the chief of, it's just bumped up a whole lot of different levels, and this is the first indication of it, which is great.
Yes.
And as you can see from the speakers, the contents, and the people involving, it's just really, really big influence. I think it's just the start. Miami is picking up on the AI scene.
I agree. It's so smart to have it during Art Basel week.
Yes, with the
There's a lot of
Art,
important
utilizing, leveraging all the crowd, beautiful crowd that
Yes.
Miami has. Yeah.
But first, I'd love to hear all about you. How did you get into tech? If you could share a little bit about your story.
Yes, I'm originally from Turkey. I came to the States in '97 after graduating from mechanical engineering, which I didn't do nothing about. And I came, want to do something business, the master's at that time, back in '97, it was the MBA, like a master's in business. So I came,
Yeah.
everybody's doing MBA, I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So there's a tech, IT. At that time, back in '97, I didn't even have an email address, just one Escort PC, and I got into MIS, Management Information Systems, learned about technology, mostly specialized in the database, Oracle, SQL. And then I first started my startup in my partners back in Baltimore in 2000, the Turkish-American student portal. And we grew it. We started selling a lot of services, helping people. The first Web 2.0, before the Web 2.0, the social media has started. And then from that, slowly we pivoted to the software development company, and Arden is my long friend from Baltimore, D.C. area.
Okay.
We started our company back in 2014 because he was working in a big conglomerate software development company. I was doing the startups. We brought our expertise and skill set together, where I was more focused on the startups problems, how you survive, what to do, what not to do, which we got a lot. And he had the expertise on the big giant, especially US-based enterprises, how to navigate in those waters. So we joined our forces, and with both of our previous jobs, we know how to run remote and local software development teams. And then slowly, projects started coming from startups to big enterprises. Currently, we're a little above 130 people. Offices headquartered in Miami, an office in Turkey, Istanbul, Ankara, in Chile, Colombia, Peru. Opening a new office in Romania, and maybe in Budapest, in Hungary. So growing with the tech talent. And around 2023-ish, 4-ish, we started also getting AI as everybody. And then augmented and supported our software development processes with the AI, and helping all the startups to cost-effective and fast speed up to the market and to validate their ideas.
So that is your
Sure.
core service of 4A Labs, is to advise startups?
Yes.
Okay.
Startups and enterprise. We have two
Enterprise
so enterprise
as well.
level AI or any other software development we do, plus the startups. On the startups, mostly to get their ideas as fast as possible to validate for the market and get them investor ready. That's what we're trying. Some of them get
Investor ready.
successful, some of them not. That's why I'm always saying don't focus on the technology. Focus on what's the problem, how you solve it, and how you're going to defend it, how you're going to be irreplaceable in the market.
How does one become irreplaceable in the market? Does that even exist anymore?
Yes and no. How solid you identify the problem and solve, and then create the value within the realms of the budgeting and stuff, can be. Yes, there might be more multiplication or more copying of the services that you have, but you have to always find your edge. And then that's what we were talking with the startups mostly, find your edge, what makes you unique. And mostly with the AI, unfortunately, what I see, a lot of AI startups, they only end up or they turn to be a feature that the big tech can easily plug and play and make them obsolete overnight.
Yeah.
So make sure you're not a feature. You're not a one button or one settings away from the big guys. Just make sure you analyze your market, have your customers and your own team adapted to the changes, and then move forward. That's the key, especially the technology is not everybody is everything. It's very accessible.
Maybe you can dig a little bit deeper on what it means to not just be a feature. Can you maybe share a couple case studies?
Yeah, we saw some startups trying to build, for instance, like search engine optimization tools and making GEOs or SEOs. Yes, great, they're utilizing, but it's so easy for Gemini or Google or to add that. But instead, one of our startups, for instance, especially just grew on the pandemic area for the parents to feed their kids in that all craziness and lockdown, how they keep healthy while engaging in the social platform, those kinds of, we leverage an AI with those, we did, but it's not necessarily an AI feature thing. It's a community, it's a parents, it's communities are involved, food or groceries or making many different areas where you can combine and serve the community and then sticks to it and sell to them the services. But it's not a feature that any big tech or big guy is going to replace. But if you say, okay, I'm just building a rack pipeline or automated, or do this, I'll help you. Okay, they're going to build it sooner better. Exactly. Find your edge to differentiate. We help them as well by understanding more, getting more involved in the business process.
So really building out your community and getting a loyal fan base behind you and your brand.
That's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key.
So speak more to startup survival. What does that mean to you?
Startup survival has many angles. Biggest one, defensibility of the startup, the ideas, and then cash flow management, financial management, adaptation, and the founder's own personal lives or personal things. So many different angles. So we're more focused on try to get the heavy lifting and load of the technology off of them, at least to focus on their core business. Okay, you want to do from A to Z, we help you out with the technology, don't worry about it. It's the secure, and then focus on your business, your clients' needs. That's how you can survive. And then get you ready. If you need investment, yes, we get you the necessary tools to go into the investors. If not, self-sustaining or self-bootstrap is better. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing to get an investment, depends. So we try to, for case by case, for each startup to get their survival line as long as possible.
That's incredible. Such amazing work. And how do you choose who to work with?
At the beginning, we were really unselective. That was one of the mistakes, I think. We wanted to select more, all the stuff, yes. But then it also not only hurt them, it starts hurting us too, because we are as powerful and as successful as our clients are. So right now we do more due diligence, more validation of the ideas. We're coming up soon with a product for solopreneurs and solo startup owners. Because before you want to start, first you have to have money, you have to have the right team, you have to have the right tools, you have to know coding. All those barriers not completely diminished, but very low right now. And now we encourage people, okay, you have an idea, do your vibe coding, use Lovable or Replit or Codex or Copilot, whichever, or all of them. Do get it done, and when you're ready to the market and then you get stuck, we help you out. And that, whatever the MVPs that used to come out with like $50,000 to $100,000 in 6 to 9 months, we can shrink down to 10, 15, maybe 20,000 in 2 months, 6 weeks. Then see and then iterate more. This is what we are more likely. And then if we can really think, dude, don't do this startup, it's not good, you're not 100% fit. Instead, just don't lose money. If he wants to still come, okay, what can we do? It's the client. But we want to just push them. We really want to work with the stars that's going to be not like a single night, one shot right down. It's just a continuity.
What stands out in someone who is really going to stick out in that way? What are some key outline identifiers?
The startups like really solving a problem that is the mainstream is not attacking, I think one thing. But again, on the other, startups, nothing changed with the AI. The way they operate and the fast and the speed is changed. Other than that, again, the problem, solution, how you go there, how you defend it. That's the same. It doesn't change since the dot-com bubble. It's the same, just the way it is running is changing. That's the way I see it.
Can you speak and maybe tease a little bit more about your product for solopreneurs?
So yes, a little bit teaser. We're creating some sort of orchestration partnership, for startups who have an idea, utilizing AI tools to get their, let's say, so to speak, co-founders, or they need to partner or get money, all this with the tools that we provide. You need to open your company, yes, here, this is the integration you can open. You need this UI, UX here, you need the finance, fractional CTO, fractional CFO, all this, build out, and then solopreneur to get the idea. Focus on what you're solving and what's your idea. The rest of all the things that most of the time founders are buried in, lose focus and sometimes lose the business. we're gonna get ready out of your hands, and so you can move on your further. So it's more to come in the beginning of the 26th. We're working on that with our startup experience and portfolio.
That's exciting. It sounds like you've built out the whole roadmap for them so that they can like really stay in their zone of genius and you know all the right steps to get to success.
And then at the end, ready for them, and they're ready for the investors. The pitch deck, pitching competitions. That's also another kind of art now, how you pitch, how you... So you have only 4 or 5 minutes in front of thousands of investors.
Of course.
That's a pitch. You have to alter it very slightly. You don't have too much time. You have to get them and then make sure that you create the interest spark on that. So we're trying to focus on those areas. So of course, utilizing AI as much as we can.
One thing I know that you're really great to speak to about is properly shipping AI with small teams. Can you maybe speak to the inner nuances of that and what it takes to successfully ship AI in a small team?
On our process, for instance, in 4A Labs, we are around 130 people, as I said, and mostly engineers stuff. But so let's say 5-6 years ago, every time we got new client, especially big clients, like we were Carrefour, Air Liquide, worldwide, very big clients in addition to the startups, you have to hire 5 more people, 10 more people, deploy teams. You have to grow. And you have like so many clients, you have like 10,000 people. So what we did is, we didn't like a whole lot of AI, we didn't fire developers or anything, but we stopped our growing in terms of the rudimentary software development. We utilizing AI tools and getting our junior level developers up on the senior and architect level so they can really direct the AI. They can really command the AI the way it's supposed to be. So you see, I vibe coded and it just blew up. Vibe coded didn't scale. Of course, if you don't have any technology background or architecture, how you do all the DevOps infra or data at the very beginning, it's gonna fail on the scalable. It's not gonna go beyond the POC. Well, we do our developers to be on the father and mother, the parents of the AI to grow it. So AI can take off the rudimentary, time-consuming, a lot of expense creating part of it. And that's saving time and cost. We also just getting for us and for our clients too.
Yes. I would love to just close this conversation by giving you the floor for any final key takeaways that you want to give for those that are in the tech startup space.
First, 2 things. It's the best time to start a company, a startup, and one of the worst times. So in both. So because the best time, you don't have any barrier, you don't have any excuses. You cannot say, I don't know code, I don't have a designer, I don't have a marketer, I don't know. You have everything in your fingertips. Just have to be focused what you want to do and then be out there. Difficult, this is valid for everybody, meaning everybody's competing in that.
Right.
So you have to find your edge. But let's say if you have 3 ideas, 4 ideas, you don't know, test them out. Before you have only 1 shot, 1 time, 1 money, 1 people to impress. Now you can try as many as you want. Whichever picks up.
Iterate, test, try it out, find your edge.
Yes, exactly.
Bora, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Wow. I hope today's episode opened your mind to what's possible with AI. Do you have a cool use case on how you're using AI and want to share it? DM me. I'd love to hear more and feature you on my next podcast. Until next time, here's to working smarter, not harder. See you on the next episode of How I AI. If you're tuning into this podcast, you're most likely an AI advocate, and you may have also wondered how to support your body against the invisible stress of EMFs. Think Wi-Fi, cell towers, or hours in front of your laptop. Lila Quantum products are lab-tested in triple-blind studies and are proven to help harmonize and neutralize EMF signals. Their products are the few things I felt a real energetic shift from. I personally wear their Quantum Energy necklace daily, and if you're someone who cares about optimizing your energy and nervous system like I do, you can explore their offers with my affiliate link in the show notes below.